She was a great hero on the path of truth, the queen of the Sufis even, great aliyah like her son. Al-Basri learned from Hirsch was a rare person. Even kings bowed to her and asked for forgiveness. It is not easy to understand or talk about her. Only those who receive some light from her world can truly know. Hirsch was a servant, known by the heavens. Her life went from slave markets to Vesky, from the chains of masters to the freedom of loveth. Day while deer gathered around her in peace, and the night the Kaab moving toward her music. This is not just a story, this is theogony of a heart that belonged fully to Allah. Didn't worship Allah because she wanted paradise. She didn't worship him because she feared hell. She worshipped only because she loved him. In this video we tell the extraordinary life of Rabia al Adawiyya music. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more stories about Islamic scholars and saints lived during the 1st and 2nd centuries of the Hijra calendar. The way she came into this world was also very unique. This pearl-like lady was born in a small hut in Basra. Her father had nothing, only that broken heart, but he was a man whose heart was filled with the light of knowledge. Allah had blessed him with faith, contentment, worship and gratitude. People called him the devout man. His real name was Ismail. He truly lived up to that title. He spent his life in worship, like a candle burning day and night, using every breath to remember and thank Allah. And now Occult was being born to this special man. It was a freezing cold night with snow and wind cutting through the air. They had no wood to make a fire and no candela to light the room. Despite this harsh cold and poverty, the woman was about to give birth. The father was very sad, and the mother cried. Her warm tears dropped onto the cold floor. She said to her husband, "Please go to the neighbor and ask for a little oil for our lamp." Ismail had promised never to ask anything from people, but still went out. He reached a neighbor's door in the dark and was about to knock, but he couldn't do it. He returned home and told his wife they didn't open the door. The poor woman, weak, cold, and helpless, cried herself to sleep. Sometimes sleep takes you away from this world. After a while she saw a dream. A blessed man whose face shined like Thesan appeared before her. It was none other than the messenger of Allah, peace be upon him. He asked her, "Why are you crying?" Before she could answer, he continued, "Do not be sad. The girl you are about to give birth to will be one of the best in my nation. She will wear the crown of olive on her head. Tell your husband to go to the governor of Basri. Say to him, used to send 100 salawat prayers on the Prophet every night, but one night you'll forget. Now as compensation, you must give us 400 dinars." That same night the governor of Basra also had a dream. He was told, "Tomorrow Agris will come to you. Listen to him and help him." The woman woke up with a light shining on her face. She called to her husband with joy, "Dear husband, we are saved. I saw the messenger of Allah in my dream. Praise be to Allah. Go quickly to the governor and tell him our situation." Ismail wrote the message on a piece of paper and went to the governor's palace. The governor was already waiting for Thegist. He saw in his dream when he heard someone at the door. He ordered, "Open the doors quickly and bring him to me." Went in and gave the paper to the governor, saying, "This message comes from a great place." Here read it. The governor read it, began to cry deeply, and said, "O lucky man, for the sake of the Prophet, I give you 12,000 gold coins." And he placed the coins in Ismail's hands. This is how Rabia came into the world with a miracle. Her poor father flew home like a bird from happiness through his patience and trust in Allah, was rewarded in a way no one could imagine. Little Rabia came into the world with many blessings. She was like a bundle of light growing under the protection of the saints, slowly becoming like a young tree. Every part of her body reflected nobility and faith. She was as beautiful as a sunlit tulip. Anyone who saw her was amazed by her good character. It was impossible not to be. Her manners, her movements, her way of speaking, everything about her was special. Time was passing quickly. Days followed, nights, and nothing in the world stayed the same. Some days felt like summer, some like winter. Some days were full of both sweet joys and bitter pain. The real strength was in accepting both sweetness and bitterness, same even if it was poison, drinking it like it was water of life, and showing loyalty to Allah without a single doubt. Just like the world does not stay theism, Rabia's life also changed when she was about to enter adult. Father passed away, then soon after her mother passed away too. Rabia was left alone with her sisters. All the pain of this temporary world came crashing down on her small shoulders. Being an orphan, poor, alone, and full of sorrow, the 4 young girls thought deeply, what will we do now? Then they made a decision full of hope and faith. We will work and survive. Allah never leaves any of his creatures without food. At first they managed on their own, but trouble had already come to their lives. A terrible famine spread through Basra. People stopped caring about each other. A cruel man captured the 4 sisters and took them to the slave market. He sold each one to a different man. The sisters were separated, crying heavily without passing through suffering, without tasting hardship. How can anyone find peace? Rabia also began her journey through hardship. From now on she would say, my palace is the land of pain. Rabia worked for her new master during the day and worshipped Allah at night. One day her master sent her on an errand. While walking, Rabia fell. She leaned on her hand, placed her face on the ground, picked up the hot sand, and began to pray with tears and love. O my Creator, O Helper of the helpless, I am an orphan living in pain. I am tied with the chains of slavery. I can be patient with every sadness, but there is one pain that burns me heart. I fear it so much. Are you pleased with me at that moment? A voice filled with light came to her. O Rabia, I will raise you to such a high level that even the angels in the sky will admire you. Rabia, with her deer-like ease, trembled like a wounded bird. The smell of divine love filled her heart, even more than before. She fasted during the day and prayed all night like a candle next to the prayer niche. She grew up in the house of worship. Her heart carried the wounds of longing. It was a quiet night full of moonlight. Flowers were sleeping in Vigadon and birds were asleep in their nests, but one person was awake, crying and praying in the deep hours of the night. That person was none other than Rabia. She prayed with such joy and love that even the heart of the night trembled. Without stopping she cried out, O my Lord, I have given my heart to you, but you made me a slave to a human. If it were up to me, I would never leave your worship for even a moment. Her master, who had bought her as a slave, heard her queries. He looked through the keyhole and saw Rabia in prostration, her face on the ground. Before Allah, she was saying over and over, O Allah, I am full of sorrow. I am crying. I am in need. Help me. Above her head was a shining lamp, a lamp that was not hanging from anything. It was floating in the air. The light around her was so bright it dazzled the eyes. But the man who saw this incredible scene trembled with awe and quietly went back to his room. The next day, he called Rabia and said, O mirror of joy, I offer you 2 choices. If you wish, become the lady of this house. I will marry you. If you don't want that, I will set you free. Tell me, what do you want? Rabia, like a wounded bird, softly replied, I want to be free. I don't want anything to come between me and my Lord. I want to worship him as I wish. Then Rabia, you are free now. And with that, the chains around her soul were broken. That pure-hearted woman turned away from wealth, marriage, palaces, and silk. She chose a small hut instead. She was now stepping into a whole new world. In that poor and tiny hut, she began worshipping her Lord again day and night. The scent of divine love had filled her soul, and her inner eyes full of wisdom. Some nights she prayed 1,000 units of salah. She had knew the goal, but Allah's love and approval. Often she would cry and say, but you are eternal. I didn't just begin to love you now. I loved you from the beginning, from the time of Alastu. Some nights, after the night prayer, she would climb to the roof of her heart. She looked at the moon and stars and lost herself. In deep thought and longing, she whispered, O Allah, the stars are rationing, the eyes are asleep, kings and sultans have shut their doors, everyone eyes with their beloved, and I once again stand before you. Her nights were always like this, and when the day came she would cry out again with a new feeling, Oh Allah, the night is past. Did you accept it from me? If I knew that you were pleased with me, how happy I would be. Please, O Allah, make this heart burning with your love. Rejoice. To love is like fighting a lion. It is not easy. Many people see with their eyes, but their hearts are asleep, and some, though their eyes are closed, have hearts that are awake. One day, a respected man came to her and said, O blessed Rabia, for the sake of Allah, will you teach me even one letter of your wisdom and good manners? A light sparkled on Rabia's face as she replied, Since the day I was born I have never held 2 coins in one hand. I fear having them together might pull me away from the path and love of my Lord. On another day, Safiyan, one of the great saints, was with her. He raised his hands and prayed, O Allah, the helper of all, I ask you for peace. Rabia's eyes filled with tears and she began to sob. Safiyan asked, O Rabia, why are you crying? Rabia, with sorrow in her voice, said, You made me cry. Safiyan was surprised. Me how? Rabia said, O Safiyan, don't you know that true peace from this world comes only by leaving it, but you are still full of it, so how can you ask for peace while holding on to the worldly? A jeweler knows the value of a jewel, and Sufyan knew her worth. He asked her again, who is the closest to Allah among those seeking him? Rabia answered quickly, those who take no one but Allah as their friend, and purpose neither in this world nor the next. One day Rabia was overwhelmed by grief. A friend visited and found her crying with tears streaming from her eyes. The friend was shocked. You, who wants nothing from the world, why are you crying, O sweet and graceful? Rabia, you are so close to Allah. Rabia, drowning in tears, replied, I fear separation. What if when death comes my Lord says to me, O Rabia, we do not need you, what will I do then? Sufyan, a man loved by the gardens of wisdom, was once again having a deep conversation with Rabia about the secrets of this world and beyond. At one point he said, I feel such sorrow, such deep sorrow. Then Rabia's lips opened gently like blooming poppies. That's not true. If you were truly sorrowful, Yao wouldn't enjoy happiness. She added, I am sad, not because I carry sorrow but because I don't feel it. Sufyan had no words left. He was speechless. When the scent of divine love truly fills someone's heart, there's no turning back. Rabia had reached that point. She was sailing her soul like a small boat across the ocean of divine love one night. Her heart burning with love, she raised her hands to the heavens and prayed, if you don't show me your face, I will cry and complain only to you, because is this how a friend treats a friend? In that moment she felt a divine light enter her heart. A voice touched her soul, O gentle one, do not think badly. Suddenly she cried out from deep pain, ever. How could I think badly of you? I return to you again. You are all I want. The bird of love does not nest in every tree. Only those in love truly understand a lover's heart. Sufyan later said, I once stayed with Rabia for one full day and night. While speaking of spiritual mysteries, I forgot she was a woman and I was a man. After our talk ended, I realized how poor I was and how she was like a queen walking barefoot among stones. This pearl-like woman was blessed with such spiritual joy. Her little hut was not just a hut, it was like the car of lovers. The only words spoken there were about love and eternity. One day someone who admired her purity came, and Askedo, wise lady, where have you come from, and where are you going? Rabia smiled softly and said, I came from the eternal world, and I am going back to the eternal one. The man was still confused and asked again what do you do in this world. She answered, I know I am temporarites. Why I walk around in sorrow and longing, I only desire Allah. The man asked one more question, so you love the Most High and consider the devil your enemy, right? Rabia paused. Looking at him, she was surprised by the question. It was a pity that the devil had still not submitted to Allah. With a painful sigh she replied, I love Allah, truly love my Lord, but I do not call the devil my enemy. Allah's love has filled my heart so fully that there is no room left for hatred of the devil. It was a spring day, birds spreading wings, roses blooming in many colors. Rabia was in her little hut, deep in thought, in the highest realm of reflection. Secrets and wisdom were constantly appearing in the mirror of her heart. At some point her helper, who loved her very much and never left her side, stepped outside. The outside world was beautiful. That Daesh called out to Rabia, come outside and see what the Creator has made. Rabia replied, you come inside and see the Creator himself. His love has filled me mind so completely that I have no time to look at what he created. That night was peaceful and silent. A thief happened to pass by Rabia's house, entered thinking he could steal something. He searched the place thoroughly, but what could the poor woman possibly have? All he found was a clay bowl. He grabbed it and walked toward the door, but strangely the door he had entered through was no longer there. Thief was stunned. How can this be? The door had vanished. In panic, he dropped the bowl and the door reappeared. He reached for the bowl again and the door disappeared once more, turning into a lit wall. Every time he let go of the bowl, the path lit up and the door returned, but whenever he touched it, the door vanished again. As the thief stood there trembling with fear and amazement, a voice came from the unseen, powerful enough to shake their heart. You don't need to try anymore. Rabia has been fully devoted to us for many years. She is one of our chosen servants. Right now she is asleep, beautiful in her sleep. Her friend waits for her. Go away, there is no share for you. Herethi, thief, filled with terror, ran out like an arrow into the darkness and vanished. That moon-faced, great-hearted Rabia. One day a man came to her looking sad and wrapped a cloth around his head. Rabia asked, why are you wearing that cloth? The man replied, I have a terrible headache. How old are you? She asked. 30. And in these 30 years you were well. The time did you ever once tie a cloth on your head to thank Allah? No. sick for just a few days, and wrap your head in complaint." The man had no answer. Instead, he began to throw dust over his head in regret. Another man lost in his path entered Rabia's small hut during the night, but he couldn't find anything to steal. As he turned to leave, Rabia called out, "Oh man, don't leave empty-handed if you have any sense." The thief frowned and said sadly, "But I didn't find anything." Rabia responded, "Poor man, don't go with nothing. Take this water and make ablution, then pray 2 units of salah. Before you go, maybe your path will change." The thief did as she said. Rabia, holding the scent of divine love in her pure heart, lifted her hands and prayed, "O Allah, my Lord, this man found nothing to take from my home, so I sent him to your door. Please don't hold back your mercy and grace from him." The man went prayer during sujud. He asked Allah for forgiveness. Sobbing through the night, at dawn, Rabia asked, "Oh poor man, how was your night?" The man raised his teary eyes and answered slowly, "It was blessed. I stood before my Lord with all my sins, and he accepted me. He gave me pearl of peace in my heart. This is how it is, great ones forgive the small ones. No one goes to his door and returns empty-handed." Rabia cried out with joy, "O hunter, now that's the kind of gazelle you should catch." Then she lifted her hands and said, "O most merciful Lord, this man stood at your door just a few hours, and you accepted him. What about me, your servant? Have you accepted me too?" At that moment, a voice echoed in her soul, "We accepted him for your sake." Rabia was a woman whose love for Allah could not be measured. One day the great scholar, Sufyan, asked her, "O Rabia, what is the truth of faith?" Rabia, with the softness of a lovebird, said, "O Sufyan, I do not worship Allah out of fear of hell, or desire for paradise. If I did, what would make me different from a servant working only for pay? I worship him because I love him and long for him. Where there are tears, there is mercy." One day Rabia was passing by the home of Hassan al-Basri, who knows what sorrow is in her heart. The tears from his eyes had fallen on Rabia's face. She thought it had the Toto rain. When she looked up, she saw Hassan al-Basri crying. Her heart rumbled like a little bird, and she said, "Hide your tears so people won't see them, and you'll be safe from These words stayed in Hassan al-Basri's heart like a seed. Later, by Thurva Tigris, he met Rabia. Again they talked deeply about the secrets of this world, and the next, as the afternoon prayer approached, Hassan said, "O Rabia, it's time for salah." He placed his prayer mat on the water and began to pray. He said the opening to Kirbat. Rabia, even more advanced in spirit, threw her prayer mat into the air and began praying while floating in the sky. When the prayer ended, she leaned toward the water and asked, "O Master, is your prayer finished?" Hassan replied, "Yes." Rabia smiled like a flower and said, "Oh Hassan, what you did, fish can do what I did, birds can do, but true lovers of Allah never truly finish their prayer. They are always in His presence. So let's come down from sky and water and unite in Allah's love. The real miracle is not walking on water or flying in the sky. The real miracle is rising above both." Hassan al-Basri felt a deep fire fill into his heart and said, "O flower of purity, you've shaken my soul so deeply." Rabia's lips gently moved and she said, "O Hassan, where is the heart we don't have that anymore? Fighting the lion of divine love is not something everyone can do." Rabia was achieving things so great that even the mind would be left in awe. She was swimming in a sea so deep that even Horizon itself would be amazed. Many nights she would burn like a headless candle and pray, "O Lord, who knows all secrets, fix the worldly matters of your enemies and give your true friends their wishes for the hereafter. As for me, I am free from both if I lose in this world and also in the next. But if I can be close to you for even a moment, I have no sorrow. My entire struggle is for you." Her love, her truthfulness, and her sincerity were like no other one. Dame ibn Dinar, a hero of the Sufi path, came to visit her. Rabia was weak and sick, lying on an old mat. Her pillow was a simple brick. She drank from a clay bowl and made a from the same. This sight deeply saddened Maliki Sido, "Lady of many virtues, I know wealthy people. If you wish, I can bring you a proper bed and a warm blanket." Rabia looked at him gently, like a deed, and said, "Oh Malik, does the Creator know my condition or not?" "Of course he does," Malik replied. "Then why do you worry? Whatever he wants, we want thee." Malik's eyes filled with tears. "Oh my Lord, is this how you treat your friends?" "Yes, to reach closeness with Allah, one must pass through seas of fire at bitter meals and wrestle with lions if it were easy to reach Him."